We're gonna do a double fold here for the hem, just to make it stronger and it's prettier. Okay, so I've already hemmed this side and I'm getting ready to hem up this side, but I don't want this to be sticking out of the edge over here after I fold this up and hem it. So I'm just gonna trim the corner off. I'm no pro, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I think I'm just gonna clean that up a little bit so that I don't have a corner sticking out, just at an angle there. So now when I fold that up, it'll be easier for me to line it up and I won't have those frayed edges sticking out over here. You'll see that I didn't cut the stitches that I made. If you do this and you cut your stitching, your hem will unravel. I buy the cheap stuff. This brand has been working great for me. The heat transfer vinyl is facing up. I have the backing part stuck down to my standard grip mat. I'm using a 12 by 24 inch mat because I'm making a large image. My dial is turned to iron on. When you're using heat transfer, iron on vinyl, you want to make sure you turn your mirror on and it will reverse the image. Okay, I've never used this brand of heat transfer vinyl before. I just needed something with a lot of variety. So I found that on Amazon. So we'll see, this is its maiden voyage. The image that I cut isn't even close to the size of this paper. So I'm gonna cut a little bit around so that I don't waste the rest of my vinyl. Now we're going to weed away the excess or the background vinyl that we're not going to use for our transfer. And I like to leave it on the mat when I do this. So I started with a corner, I just peeled up the corner here. And I'll go kind of slow so that I can see that things are staying that need to stay. And I use this tool for me to get into the places that are hard to get to.
Keep your phone case.
Keep my... So I just had to pull out part of that letter there. Now I can use this to get inside each of the letters. Here's one of the smaller pieces that I cut. Since this is a layered project, I'm going to have to do a couple of steps, but I can combine the first two steps. This is going to be underneath, and just a little bit of it will be showing through once I make this top and bottom of this cookie. So I can stick this on where it's gonna go, but I see that I've kind of covered up some of my black letter over here. So I'm gonna need to trim around the edges to make this fit. All right, I'll lay this part in, and it will stick there because the backing, you can hear my fingers sticking probably. It is sticky. So this piece is going to stick there, and since there's nothing underneath it, there's no problem with doing what I've just done. This is my Easy Press. Easy Press comes with a mat, and I use that a lot, but for this instance, my project is larger, so I'm going to spread out a towel so that I don't have to shift and I can keep things straighter. So using the Easy Press 100% cotton ironing on a towel, the Cricut Heat Guide said to set my heat press to 330 degrees, and we will press it for 30 seconds and then flip it over and press it for another 15. Something that is easy to forget when you're doing a heat transfer vinyl is that it's very handy to find the center of your image. And I happened to make this image as big as this mat would let me make it. So I know that the exact center of my image is the exact center of my mat. So this mat is 24 inches long, which would mean the exact center would be 12 inches. I'm just using a pen, and the 12-inch mark is right here, and I'm just going to put a small line, not on my actual vinyl, but just on the backing sheet. I generally use a Sharpie, but I'm ironing onto white cotton, and I was worried about it rubbing off onto my cotton. If I push hard enough, I can get at least a crease, and that's all I need, just a little something to help me find the center of my image. And in addition to finding the center of your image, you also need to find the center of your fabric, and a very easy way to do that is to fold it in half. I'm just going to use my heat press to make a small crease down the center of my fabric. And now here's my image, and I'm gonna line up. Now this isn't gonna stick to where you can't move it around, but it is going to stick well enough that it won't slide on you. I've lined up my center line, but I know how far I want this to be down. So I'm going to use a tape measure and see if I've got this positioned the way I want. I like to step back and take a look at what it's going to look like, and I think that that's going to be just fine. So I just use a flour sack towel, one of my dish towels that I use to dry, and as I'm pressing, I use it as a barrier while I'm pressing. I'll do a little bit at a time. I obviously can't get the whole image in one shot here because my press isn't big enough. So I'll line up with the edge, and you push the green start button, and give it some pressure. As you push down, it will count down for you, and I will move on to the next part and do the same thing until I'm finished. I'm pushing pretty hard. Depending on my material, I've noticed that some iron-ons are harder to get stick than others. I have a hard time with glitter and holographic. I'll even put as much as my body weight on here as I can and hold myself here. I don't have as much of a problem with this iron-on, so I'm just making sure I'm square over the top. All right, that was the last part of it. And now I need to flip my material over and iron the back side of it. All right, this is cool. So we're going to see if we can get this to peel off. Okay, and this is where I had the different color, so the backing is still here. I need to peel this off as well. Okay, now we will add these pieces to the cookie. I've got the lighter pink color over top of the dark color that I've already ironed on, so we'll get this pink ironed on and let it cool. All right, this is cool enough that I think we can try peeling it off. And there's the finished product.